Wow, folks. Wow. Okay. Wow is what I have to say right now. Okay. Real quick before we get into everything, I just want to say, dude, YouTube literally took down the Bible studies that we were doing on Revelation. Um, so that kind of forced our hand. We're going to have to be doing those on Rumble and X. So please be sure to follow us on Rumble, Unspecified Podcast, and on X at Still Unspecific. If you would like to attend or get into Revelation, which I think wow, now's the time. It's definitely a good time to brush up. Plus, Pastor Steven Anderson, a lot of people, it's very controversial. They don't like him, which is fine. I think he does some really good preaching, some preaching that we haven't had in a while. We have an absolute ton to get into tonight, guys. So welcome in. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Grab this URL and shout out Brofist. Thank the Lord, because wow, something's going on, huh? We have noticed. Okay, we've got a lot of new faces around, and we are thankful for each and every single one of them, and welcome them to come hang out, join the Unspecified community, where we're trying to, watch history unfold together. That's what we're called to be, as watchmen and women. And also, a quick caveat or a quick disclosure: not all videos and clips that we show express, what we think or believe here at Unspecified Podcast, and it also doesn't reflect what our friends think or believe. Anybody associated with the channel. As well as it's all for entertainment purposes. Okay. Our goal here is to put all the data in front of you. Okay. So that you guys can connect the dots and make your own informed decisions based off the raw data that you see. Real quick, I want to see unknown user, Mrs. Unspecified, Profist, Charm Life Lady, D Duffy. What's up? What's up, guys? Good to see you guys, man. Welcome in, everybody. Like I said, dude, we have a ton to get into, and it's just a bubbling. It's just a burbling. It's just a boiling, boiling pot getting hotter, like a bunch of frogs, right? So I'm very excited. We have a ton of clips. We're going to get into all this. But I mean, it's not clickbait, man. It's really not looking good. Some O2SS. What's up, brother? What's up, brother? Dopey dude, what's up? What's up, brother? Okay, all right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and dive into this. All right, and we'll dive into that right after this. Money, money, money. Okay. It's all costing money. Okay. None of it's free. Right. And there are those that benefit from this money. Okay. Bob, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Okay. All right. Just in, Trump considers deploying thousands more U.S. troops to reinforce operations in the Middle East, in addition to the 5,000 Marines and sailors already approved to deploy on amphibious assault ships. I appreciate that, Charm Life Lady. Seriously. Thank you. And if you didn't know, the USS Tripoli amphibious group just passed through the Malacca Strait, and is on its way to the Iranian coast. It's essentially a light aircraft carrier with 20 plus vertical takeoff aircraft and helicopters, large landing ships, a destroyer, and 2,500 Marines. So we're talking about adding 5,000 troops on. Party music, okay? We're talking about adding another 5,000 troops on top of that already, okay? And we haven't even gotten into the rest of the news, okay? So I just want to put this out here for you. We have, this 2,500 sailors or 2,500 Marines on the USS Tripoli heading to the Iranian coast. That sounds like a water invasion, like a sea to ground amphibian. I mean, this is some, forgive me if I'm sounding inflated or whatever, it's that's like some Normandy. You know what I mean? Because Iran's over there saying like, we prepared for this for 20 years. You know what I mean? You think you couldn't get something together in 20 years? Maybe not. I don't know. Okay. Not good. Definitely need to be praying for our boys. Okay. They just want to serve a country that is going to, serve them. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, someone said it way better than I can say it right now, but they just want to serve their country. Okay. And it's all boiling up fast. Okay. Real quick. All right. No big deal. Or maybe, I don't know. This is World Health Organization officials prepare for a nuclear catastrophe if U.S.-Israel war with Iran escalates. Straight up. And you can check my sources, man. Everybody is talking about it on X and Twitter. It's verified. This is from Politico. The World Health Organization prepare for a nuclear catastrophe. I mean, that's sobering. That's sobering, folks. Okay, this is not no small fry stuff. Okay, this is not looking good. Okay, it's not looking good. Okay, but we're just going to take a brief second and talk about this Joe Kent, the top counterterrorism official. I have a few clips here that I want to get into, specifically discussing his situation. Okay. All right. Justin, Joe Kent under FBI investigation for allegedly leaking classified information. Hold on.
Joe Kent, the former director of the United States National Counterterror Center. This is from Semaphore. He just resigned. He's now under FBI investigation for allegedly leaking classified information. And the investigation predates his departure. Congressman, your reaction to that tonight? Wow.
Well, there's a lot there, and I think that we need to let this investigation play out, but we shouldn't tolerate any leakers in the administration, particularly regarding classified national security interests and information. So we'll let this play out and see where it goes. But if he was leaking, he ought to be held accountable just like anybody else would be.
Now, 5 minutes ago, he seemed to think that Iran was a big threat, and then suddenly that threat went away. It was very odd.
Huge smear campaign right now. Okay. Totally right about that, Greater Ajax. That was a hilarious comment. He says, when has the World Health Organization been right about anything? Am I right? That's a good one, dude. Okay. All right. We've got a few clips here. Tucker Carlson interviewed Joe Kent. This clip says he drops a bombshell revealing that the Israeli lobby in D.C. manipulated intelligence to push the Trump administration to treat Iran as an imminent threat when it wasn't. Okay.
What they did was they created basically a shifting red line or a new red line. So that if the president's red line was Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, we've actually got a lot of trade space in there for a deal to be made. Because of what I just described with the Iranian policy, essentially the Iranians saying, okay, well, we don't want a nuclear weapon. Well, that means we basically are at a point where we can start negotiating and we can come up with the deal. And the president is a fantastic deal maker. So if your goal is to move us away from any kind of deal and your goal is to move us into a conflict, you have to shift that red line. And that's where a lot of this, I would say, what became a de facto U.S. policy of Iran can have no nuclear enrichment. It was laundered through a lot of the different talking heads, Mark Levin, Mark Dubowitz. You've got the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies, you name it. Washington, D.C. has plenty of pro-Israeli lobbyists who will come and say those things, who will publish think pieces on it, who will go on the media, who will run, op-eds in the Wall Street Journal to talk about this, why they can't have any enrichment whatsoever. And then we have a high degree of engagement with Israeli government officials who will come in and say, well, they're enriching and they could enrich or they could enrich more, and that will get them closer to a nuclear weapon. So then enrichment basically became the new U.S. policy. And the only official I've heard, and folks are welcome to look for this, that said this in the first Trump administration was Mike Pompeo. He said it. The president didn't say it. The president has been very consistent. He said they can't have a nuclear weapon. But again, like I said, that puts us at a place where we actually could have negotiations. And only President Trump, I think, could successfully have negotiations with Iran because he actually punched them in the face. And the Iranians had been walking all over us. They had been killing our soldiers. All of that is true. I have no sympathy whatsoever for the Iranians, what their proxies were doing. President Trump level set that when he killed Qasem Soleimani and he killed Abu Mahdi Mohandas. The folks who wanted to push an actual regime change war in Iran knew this, and they knew there was a potential to get a deal, or there was a potential for President Trump just to continue the policy of maximum pressure sanctions. And if you come after us, we will hit you hard. And that got the protesters out on the street in Iran. And that's actually what the regime feared the most. I don't think the Ayatollah feared dying, not because he, is some crazy lunatic. I'm sure some degree of the Shia martyrdom culture played a factor in that. However, I think he knew that if he was killed, the regime would survive because the people would rally around the regime.
Okay. All right. Hold on. Okay, Joe Kent, who is currently under investigation for leaking classified information, told Tucker Carlson that he knows they are going to come after him for what he's openly talking about. Okay.
The people who are coming after me, I believe that the internet is like 25% real. I think there's a lot of bots. There's a lot of people who got delivered a talking point and they're going to get a paycheck for it.
I've noticed.
Or they just, they want the adoration. So I just don't take most of it seriously. And again, look, I know there's some of my former colleagues, people who I do like, who have had to come after me. And I understand that too. Like, I get it. Like, they're still there. They've got to discredit everything I'm saying right now. They're watching, taking notes. So I'm not bitter about that. I literally just want to focus on the task at hand. And the task at hand is stopping us from getting deeper into this quagmire. Because again, like just looking back on my experiences in Iraq, I don't feel like this happened. There wasn't the ability to, there wasn't this platform. There wasn't, the free independent media that existed in a real way that could reach people.
That's right.
And so to me, we have this opportunity. So I'll be bitter and angry later when, I read Twitter and somebody who I used to like says that Joe Kent's a traitor and we're going to fire him tomorrow anyways. We don't have time for that. Like, as you pointed out, major things are happening right now in this war, and the president is facing some very, very challenging decisions. So I personally just hope that he and his closest advisors listen and think, and that's the main priority.
Okay. All right. This one here, Joe Kent tells Tucker Carlson that President Trump's administration misled the world about Iran being an imminent threat. Let's see.
I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation. How did you reach that conclusion?
I think this is key. I mean, this would be more challenging to explain had the Secretary of State, the President, and the Speaker of the House not come out and said that we conducted this attack at this time because the Israelis were about to do so. So that takes away the argument that there was an imminent threat, as in Iran was planning to attack us immediately. That just simply did not exist.
May I ask you to pause? Sure. And so I've heard people say that, and this just happened, but history has a way of getting rewritten in real time. And then you look back 10 or 15, 20, 25 years later, and no one seems to understand the things that you saw because they've been eliminated. Yeah. So I think it's important to stop and say, here's what we actually know. So I'd like now, if we could, just to play one of the statements that you alluded to, and that's from Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State. And this was shortly after this war commenced. And he was explaining as is his habit, in a thoughtful, precise way, why. Here's Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
And so the president made the very wise decision. We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces. And we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties and perhaps even higher those killed. And then we would all be here answering questions about why we knew that and didn't act.
Okay, so that is his almost contemporaneous explanation, and it's not offhand. He reasons it out. He explains there's a logic chain there, and he says, we knew not that Iran was going to attack. He did not say that.
Right.
He said we knew that Israel was going to attack Iran, and in retaliation for those attacks by Israel against Iran, Iran might attack American forces. So the imminent threat that the Secretary of State is describing is not from Iran, it's from Israel.
Exactly. And I think this speaks to the broader issue. Who is in charge of our policy in the Middle East? Who is in charge of when we decide to go to war or not? In this case, with what the Secretary described, and later on the President, later on the Speaker of the House, and the way the events played out, the Israelis drove the decision to take this action, which we knew would set off a series of events, meaning the Iranians would retaliate. Now, I think there's a potential there where we could have done several different things. We could have simply said to the Israelis, no, you will not. And if you do, then we will take something away from you. I think that it's fine that we offer defense to Israel. But when we're providing the means for their defense, we get to dictate the terms of when they go on the offensive. Otherwise, they stand to lose that relationship. And the Israelis felt emboldened that no matter what they did, no matter what situation they put us in, that they could go ahead and take this action, and we would just have to react.
What is up, Patriot Lady? Much love. Good to see you. Douglas, what's up? Welcome in. Good to see you. Good to see you. And Brofist. Okay. All right. So I'm starting to get a little bit more of a round understanding. I don't know where you fall on the guy or Tucker or any of it. I'm definitely keeping my mind open, because just because this war happened didn't mean that I started to trust people that I already didn't trust, or, it doesn't take away that I knew things that I already knew, so I don't know where you guys fall on it. My mind is still open at the moment. I'm not, and obviously there's too much going on to really focus on this one thing. And to start bickering over it as if we have any issues bickering over things, right? We bicker over it all. All right. And then we have a couple of clips here. I just want to make sure that this, okay. I just want to make sure I don't have doubles. I think I do. Okay. Tucker, you're saying that Israeli officials short-circuited the entire U.S. government and just went right to American policymakers? Let's see. What are they talking about here?
I mean, I thought that U.S. policymakers made their decisions on the basis of intelligence collected and or vetted by our intelligence. That's why we have intelligence agencies that soak up hundreds of billions a year. But you're saying that Israeli officials short-circuited the entire U.S. government and just went right to American policymakers and said, it doesn't matter what your country says, here's what we know. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, usually they're pretty slick, and they'll say, hey, this isn't in intelligence channels yet because it's going to take some time to get there. And here they're on the cusp of building a bomb. They're going to, I don't know, you pick your topic. A lot of times they'll sample different things until they find what sticks. But in general, the narrative about, they're going to do a preemptive attack, or really just they're going to build a nuclear weapon. And if we don't stop them now, they're going to build a nuclear weapon. And enrichment is the pathway to that. They're going to continue enriching at whatever percent. Enrichment became the narrative. And so that hung up and that short-circuited and really sabotaged the entire negotiations, because the Iranians basically said, like, we're not going to negotiate if the whole starting point is no enrichment. And again, that had nothing to do with a nuclear weapon, and the Iranians essentially agreed to that. So the Israelis came in, they moved that red line, and they would do a lot to say, like, oh, they're enriching, and you know what that means? That means in
okay, so I'm getting that. I'm picking that up. Did you ever hear anybody say there is intel that shows this?
Just simply isn't true.
Hold on.
You're not some guy on Twitter. You're a senior, as of yesterday, you were a senior U.S. Intelligence official who's not hostile to President Trump, who's not going to here to write a tell-all book or launch a media career. So I think you're a sober voice on this. And just to be clear, there was no intelligence that showed an imminent threat. There was no intelligence that showed they were on the cusp of building a nuclear weapon. There was no intelligence, indeed, that showed they were trying to build a nuclear weapon. And nobody said, I've seen it, but you haven't. It exists, but you just haven't seen it. Did you ever hear anybody say there is intel that shows this?
I did not know, but I know how this works. I know the Israeli officials, some in intelligence, some in government, will come to U.S. government officials, and they will say all kinds of things that we know from our intelligence just simply isn't true. And they'll say, hey, I'm giving you a preview. It's not in intelligence channels yet, but here's what's going to happen. And that doesn't usually come to
wait. You're not some guy on Twitter.
Yeah, I agree. Mars, I agree. Definitely. Okay. All right. So, and this is a little more on the Tucker situation. Tucker Carlson might be arrested soon, and this is from an ex-CIA officer here.
This was a very bad weekend for Tucker Carlson.
Mm.
People are really, really beating up on Tucker Carlson like never before, and he realized in a Saturday podcast, not even a podcast, just an announcement that he made, that that he had been referred to the Justice Department for criminal prosecution for working for the Iranians. Specifically, he said he
Referred by
believed,
whom?
well, that's the $64,000 question.
Yeah.
Tucker said on Saturday he believed that the CIA had referred him to the Justice Department for prosecution under the Espionage Act. That turned out not to be the case, because on Sunday, Laura Loomer announced that she was the one that made the criminal referral to the Justice Department, accusing Tucker of committing espionage for Iran, but specifically for neglecting to register under the FARA, the Foreign Agents Registration Act. She said that because he exchanged emails with Iranian government officials, that showed that he was committing espionage against the United States. Now,
Any journalist.
I'm gonna
would be
admit to you
vulnerable.
I've got a role in this, and this is why I wanted to bring this up.
Mm.
An Iranian contact of mine asked me months ago, if I would introduce him to Tucker, because President Pezeshkian wanted to interview him. So I did. I put Tucker in charge with Pezeshkian's office, and they were trying to work out an interview. They ended up having the Iranian foreign minister meet with Tucker in Muscat. And then that was first. And then Tucker interviewed Pezeshkian. This was 6, 7, 8 months ago. So Laura Loomer says, just because he spoke with an Iranian government official means he's guilty of espionage. Now, literally nothing is going to come of this, right? There are dozens of crimes reports that are filed with the Justice Department every single day, and they ignore 99.5% of them.
Interesting. Okay. In other news, we're going to switch gears here. Just in, Russia calls on U.S., Israel, and Iran to immediately end the war. Okay. Just putting that out there real quick. Also, Russia says world is witnessing worst energy crisis in 40 years. Okay. And I think they're specifically referring to the crude oil situation there. Switching gears, this isn't going to take too long. Okay. Pentagon seeks White House green light for $200 billion plus Iran war funding. And didn't he already get a huge increase in the military budget? They got money for wars, but can't feed the poor. Yeah. Didn't they already to build a dream military? Am I remembering that right? I can't remember how much. No kidding, remote viewer. Timmy, my man, he says, so Tucker is going to be arrested before anyone on the Epstein list or Democrat fraudster. Apparently there is a certain group of folks that, you can't necessarily go against, or you become priority number one. Is what I'm picking up. Okay. I'm not totally, and I don't know if you're picking up what I'm putting down there. It's $1 trillion now. Good Lord. Okay. All right. So Pentagon seeks White House green light for $200 billion plus for Iran war funding. We'll just throw this in there since we're talking about it. This is just in. Head of U.S. Postal Service says they will run out of cash within a year. So the U.S. Postal Service will run out of cash within a year. Okay. That's not looking good. It's not looking good. Okay. And since we're in this vein, okay, talking about finances and whatnot, I have this just a quick clip here. Former Doge lead advisor Nate Kavanaugh testified that the White House clamped down on Doge's efforts to aggressively cut spending. You remember when, Elon and Trump were best friends, and we had Doge. It was awesome.
The small agency's work ultimately was winding down in around July because there was growing tension between Elon and the White House, and the desire to cut spending from the White House started to reduce for political reasons, I assume. And so I got transitioned to immigration after that.
Were you privy at all to those tensions between Elon and the White House about cutting spending?
Can you be more specific?
Well, you referenced it vaguely, and it wasn't clear to me whether you had firsthand knowledge of meetings or conversations about that issue, or whether you were just referring to things you read in the press.
I had firsthand knowledge of the tension between Elon and the president.
How so?
I was in a meeting with Elon, Steve Davis, Howard Lutnick, and David Sachs in the West Wing of the White House, where there was a discussion about the growing tension of not being interested in cutting spending as aggressively as we'd originally hoped.
And who communicated that from the White House perspective?
I don't recall.
Someone communicated it.
I don't recall, honestly, who said it. Might have been Elon.
But it was said.
Okay. Yeah, he is just a kid. Golf and Guns, it's good to see you, brother. Welcome. He's just a kid, but that was the whole thing about the Doge. They were this super young, crazy, mathematically advanced group of kids that were getting involved with cutting, needless government spending. I remember that. Okay. All right, we're going to keep her moving here. All right. And like we said in the beginning of the show, Trump plans ground troops to secure Hormuz. This is the scoop. All right. Trump administration considering deploying thousands of additional troops to the Middle East as the military prepares options for the possible next phase of the Iran war. One option for securing the Strait of Hormuz includes deploying troops to Iranian shores. All right. If you've been keeping up, you know that Iran has been saying that they've been preparing for this for 20 years. Okay. Time to be praying. Time to be praying. Okay. U.S. has never built bunkers in the Gulf. They never expected to be under fire that much. All right.
I'll tell you another thing, which shocked me as a guy that spent his time in the armor and in the infantry. What I was told through very, very good sources is those bases, American bases, they don't have bunkers. They never built bunkers. Air Force, Navy never built bunkers.
Is that why those guys are all staying in hotels?
Yeah, that's, by the way, also why. I'll tell you another thing, which shocked me as a guy that spent his time.
All right. Let's see. All right. In the same vein, all right, with the financial stuff, Fed Chair Powell warns Americans that inflation is going to spike hard.
But the implications of events in the Middle East for the U.S. economy are uncertain. In the near term, higher energy prices will push up overall inflation, but it is too soon to know the scope and duration of the potential effects on the economy. But the implications of events.
All right. The first comment, can we abolish the Fed already? Okay. All right, Justin, Trump now wants no additional strikes on Iranian energy infrastructure after initially supporting the Israeli strike on South Pars, the world's largest natural gas field, as a message to Iran over blocking the Strait of Hormuz. And we played a video about that yesterday with the island, with that guy that was talking about, if we do strike this island, that almost every other country in the areas, basically we could see a huge hit to the to oil and oil barrel prices. And that's it, that's going to hit us directly as far as in our wallets. Trump now wants no additional strikes on Iranian energy infrastructure after initially supporting the Israeli strike on South Pars, the world's largest natural gas field, as a message to Iran over blocking the Strait of Hormuz. All right. It's getting steamy. Okay. It's getting steamy. Let's see here. In other crazy news, Tulsi Gabbard said earlier today, Tulsi Gabbard says that Iran did not try to rebuild enrichment capacity following the June 2025 attacks. What? Tulsi Gabbard says that Iran did not try to rebuild enrichment capacity following the June 2025 attack. Iran was not rebuilding nuclear enrichment, U.S. intelligence finds. U.S. intelligence concluded Wednesday that Iran was not rebuilding nuclear enrichment capacities destroyed last year by the United States and Israel, contradicting a key justification by President Donald Trump for his ongoing war. Tulsi Gabbard, a Trump ally who is director of national intelligence, offered mixed signals on the backdrop and outcomes of 3 weeks of war as she and other officials appeared before Congress. She also assessed that Iran's leadership remained intact. As a result of Operation Midnight Hammer, Iran's nuclear enrichment program was obliterated, Gabbard said in prepared testimony to the Senate Intelligence Committee, referring to the June 2025 U.S. attack. There has been no effort since then to try to rebuild their enrichment capability, Gabbard wrote. She did not repeat the conclusion before cameras. Pressed by a Democratic senator, Gabbard said that she did not have enough time to read the full testimony at the hearing, but did not refute the assessment. Trump has repeatedly said he ordered the attack on Iran alongside Israel on February 28th because of an imminent threat. Trump said after the June 2025 bombing that the United States had completely destroyed Iran's nuclear sites, but since his latest war, he has maintained that Tehran was nonetheless weeks away from a nuclear bomb and that he had to act. The UN nuclear watchdog and most observers have not supported the finding of an imminent nuclear bomb by Iran, which was negotiating with Trump's envoys on a deal in the days before the attack. Okay, John Ratcliffe, director of the CIA, told senators when asked about the negotiations, it was very clear that Iran, while they were talking, they had no intentions of following through. Okay. Let's see. And then we have this right here. Breaking: President Trump just posted CNN being forced to admit he has 100% approval among the MAGA base. Trump wins again. MAGA GOP approve 100%. I mean, where are y'all at?
You know, sometimes you look at the polling data and there are numbers that just jump off the screen at you. And this is one of those. Because just take a look here. MAGA GOP view of Trump. Approve 100%. 100%. If you are a member of MAGA and the GOP, you approve of Donald John Trump. 0% say that they disapprove. You don't have to be a mathematical genius to know you can't go higher than 100%. He is the 1972 Miami Dolphins. You know, sometimes you look at the polling data.
Dang. So, I mean, is this true? I mean, 100%, no regrets. 100%, no regrets. Thank you, Alex. Thank you so much for that, brother. Bro fist, man. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's true, man. Seriously. I mean, I feel like you could walk around and ask anybody, as far as anyone who is at least a little bit informed. I don't know, man. I'm holding back, my thoughts, my reservations. Both Trump and Netanyahu have called on the Iranian nation to rise up against regime once its security forces have been weakened enough. Air support for any military defectors or armed groups taking up battle against the regime will also be needed.
7 years has been chanting death to America.
Death to America or death to Israel.
For 47 years, these barbaric savages in the Iranian regime have murdered our brothers in arms.
They've murdered their own people. They massacred so many.
Bloodthirsty terrorist regime.
Thank God that Donald Trump is here.
The two most powerful air forces in the world.
Two most powerful air forces. Most powerful by far.
U.S. and Israeli air power, all in service of victory.
When we work together, amazing things happen.
We are winning. We know who the good guys are.
The people of Iran.
America is backing you with overwhelming strength and devastating force.
This is a gateway to peace.
I call upon all Iranian patriots. America is with you.
Israel stands with you.
We are with you all the way.
The entire free world stands with you.
This is the moment for action.
I urge you to be bold and brave.
Be brave, be bold, be heroic.
You have to be strong to protect your values.
Now is the time to seize control of your destiny and to unleash the prosperous and glorious future that is within your reach.
For your families and for all Iranians.
So that's them calling for the Iranian people to stand up, and that basically we're going to provide air support. Okay, man. Look, dude, Cinnamon One, very good to see you. Very good to see you. Welcome in. I totally agree. Golf. 100%. I mean, but he had the whole country, like everybody previous to this, during the protests 3 weeks ago. I guess he didn't have the whole country, but his base. And I was just watching on Timcast, they were talking about how fractured both sides are at this point. Okay, but look, we got some good news here. Okay, I don't know. You let me know what you think. Justin, House passed a bill requiring automatic deportation of illegals who commit welfare fraud.
On this vote, the yeas are 231, the nays are 186. The bill is passed. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
Douglas. It's pretty spot on, man. It's pretty spot on. All right, let's see. Is this some stuff we already had? President Trump is now considering pulling out from the Strait of Hormuz, forcing U.S. allies to defend it. I mean, can you imagine? Huh. All right, let's see. Is it already going to get sketchy here? All right. We've got some theoretical stuff here. All right. And I mean, does this guy sound hateful? I don't know. Let me know.
Iran holds all the cards because they don't have to do anything except survive, and they have control over the Strait of Hormuz. They've compromised all of our radar systems. They've compromised all of our intercepting systems. We're out of fucking missiles to intercept with, and the money that it costs us to fucking intercept is just astronomically higher than what it costs them to launch. And they have all these drones that are cheap as fuck that they're just like mass producing in underground facilities, and all that is without China even lifting a finger. And China is deeply aligned with Iran. So China is currently feeding a whole fuckload of intelligence to Iran. They've got a whole satellite array that's as good as ours now. And they actually have their like super fucking fancy ass radar boats out there in international waters just kind of taunting us. And right now we are wildly depleted and China is untouched.
Imagine how humiliating we lose to Iran. It seems like that could happen. Trump would be like he already has been the worst president ever, completely getting America humiliated for war that we started for absolutely no reason.
Not just humiliated, but also leaving us entirely wide open. Like at that point, if we lose, China very much could just say, hey, we're going to attack.
I mean, I doubt that's what's going to happen, but definitely interesting to keep your mind open. Let's see. Why the U.S.-Iran war could hit your food supply next. Let's listen.
Due to the U.S.-Israel versus Iran war, be prepared for a possible food shortage. Most people think that only oil passes through the Strait of Hormuz, but that's not true. This narrow waterway is also one of the most important routes for global fertilizer supply. Around 50% of the world's traded urea fertilizer moves through the Strait of Hormuz. If this war continues for a long time, the world should also prepare for a possible food shortage. Urea is the most widely used fertilizer on Earth and plays a critical role in global food production. Some of the world's biggest urea producers are located around the Persian Gulf, including Iran, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Bahrain. Large shipments of fertilizer from these countries pass through this route every day to reach global markets. If the Strait of Hormuz remains closed or heavily disrupted, the world will not only face an oil shortage, but also a serious fertilizer crisis. And when fertilizer supply drops, food production across the world is affected. Countries that rely heavily on imported fertilizer could face major problems. These include Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Brazil, Turkey, and many African nations that depend on urea imports to support their agriculture. In simple terms, if this route stays blocked, the impact will go far beyond energy markets. It could trigger higher food prices, lower crop production, and even food shortages in several parts of the world. That is why the Strait of Hormuz is not just an oil choke point. It is also a critical lifeline for global food security.
All right. Today we woke up to some crazy news happenings with, in between Israel and Iran. Check this out.
I have some massive fucking news for you this morning. Oh, fuck. So the war just took another major escalation today, March 18th, because Israel just struck Iran's Pars gas field. The Pars gas field in Iran is the largest natural gas field in the entire world, and many countries rely on this gas from Iran. And Israel just struck it today, up in flames. Now, according to Axios, the United States approved of Israel's strike. So the United States knew about this, and we gave it the green light. Now, we're seeing this at the pump here, right? Oil prices are the highest they've been in over an entire year for Americans, but other people across the world are soon going to face the largest energy crisis in world history that we know of. That is how severe this is fucking getting at such a fucking rapid rate. Iran, of course, has already said they're going to retaliate against the Gulf nations and start striking critical energy infrastructure over there. Real quick, Purple Popular Show, 16 episodes are out now. Click the link in my bio. It's $5 a month, or comment link, or comment show. Episodes 17 and 18 are coming soon. It's fucking amazing. Law-informed show. Remember to comment link right now. Now, what is Trump doing about all of this? Well, recently he's called upon NATO and our allies to help us. Our allies, almost every single one, said no, including Germany, France, the United Kingdom, Australia, Japan, South Korea. All of them said no. So now Trump today is saying that he may pull us out of NATO. He's threatened that a lot. But it's kind of funny that he's not getting his way. People are standing up to him worldwide, and now he's continuing to isolate us even more. Shit is getting really bad, really fast. I've said that a lot, but it's getting worse really fast, I guess I should say. I'll give you more news later. Much love. I'm Hunter Howell.
All right. Okay. And then breaking news right before we went live. Okay. Iran targets the Dimona nuclear reactor in Israel, which is not good news. Okay. And I guess that's going to be a retaliation strike because we struck Israel struck the Pars Island, the natural gas island. Look, I think it's building up pretty quick. But at this point, before we switch into another story real quick, let me see here. Give me just a second to figure this out. Guys, thank you so much for being here this evening with us. Brofist, we love and appreciate you so much. We need your help, okay? Algorithmically hated, okay? We talk about a whole bunch of stuff. We are not getting a paycheck to push a narrative, okay? We operate viewer funded, okay? And look, I'm not trying to put any pressure on anybody. Honestly, just being here means the most. But if you want to be a huge help for free, smash that like, subscribe if you haven't, ring the notification bell so you don't miss any live updates, and grab the URL, hit the share button, drop us in a group chat, drop us in a Discord, share us out. It's a blessing. It's a huge help in a way that we seriously need it. And shout out to the channel members and anyone who helps support in comments, chatting. Like I said, just being here. Brofist. Thanks. Thank you. Love you. Much love. Okay. We've got a whole nother section that we're about to transition into where things get maybe a little more. You got to be thinking. You got to keep an open mind. You got to, chew up the meat, spit out the bones. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get out there a little bit. Okay. Look, it's getting crazy. It's getting crazy out there. I'm not saying that the World Health Organization knows what they're talking about, but with them talking about prepare for nuclear catastrophe, I'm not saying a nuke's coming. I'm just saying it seems like it's getting nuclear. Sean, my man, Bro Fist, Tammy, Sister Fist, hello. Get the marshmallows. What does that mean? Get the popcorn. All right, here we go. CIA official, the FBI had identified 187 Mossad agents. Let's see what this has to say.
At the CIA, we had a series of briefings. The director came, welcome to the CIA, congratulations. And then the director of personnel, the director of health insurance, the director of whatever, the director of security. So he told us things like, there's a restaurant right down the street, a steakhouse. Don't ever go there, he says, because it's the restaurant that's closest to the CIA. The KGB thinks that we all go there. So they all go there. So the place is only KGB. So we never go inside. I've never been in there still to this day. So he said the Israeli embassy has a representative from Mossad and a representative from Shin Bet, right? And they conduct a liaison with us. But the FBI has identified 187 Mossad agents in the United States, not declared to the US government, spread all around the country to steal our defense secrets. And I raised my hand. I said, why? We give them 99% of our defense secrets. And he said, exactly. They're here to steal the last 1%. And that's what they do. The Israelis are not friends of the United States. If the KGB.
Okay. All right. Scotty. What is up, Scotty? Anti. Good to see you, brother. Welcome in. What's up? Okay. All right. This I thought was interesting. I want to put it on your radar. Okay.
There are 100 U.S. senators. Last year, 93 out of 100 U.S. senators were people whose campaigns had been funded by Israel, AIPAC, and the Israel lobby. 93 out of 100 U.S. senators were taking money from a group that represents a foreign government and foreign interests in order to operate our government on behalf of someone else. And they all work here in this building.
This is Representative Ro Khanna from California, and he does not take AIPAC money according to the website Track AIPAC. Here's what he had to say.
It's too much. I mean, it's too much. All these super PACs and PACs are too much. I don't take a dime of PAC money, lobbyist money, since I've been in Congress. And I don't believe in super PACs. And so I can vote my conscience. But if you have people who have a particular point of view, in AIPAC's case, they're basically whatever Netanyahu does is right. That's their point of view. And they're saying, okay, if you don't take that view, we may come after you. We may have millions of dollars spent against you.
Interesting. Scotty, working on a model. What else would I be doing? Dude, what are you working on? We love that kind of stuff, dude. I'm not even going to lie. Okay. If you haven't heard of Boylai Hobby Time, you should check him out. Okay. All right. Same vein. Benjamin Netanyahu has missed his 14th straight security cabinet meeting. Okay. I'm not sure what that means. Not sure what that means to you. I'm putting it on your radar. Okay. We've got more from Tucker. Okay. Real quick. Okay. Hear the man out. This might be why they're after him, bro.
He said, well, okay, let's just do the interview at the airport in the diplomatic reception area at the airport. Okay, I said, we're going to be flying in from Europe and we had to be in and out really quickly. So at great expense, we chartered a plane, which I never do because I'm cheap. But we did. And so then I said to them, okay, I want to send you the flight information, tail number, flight number, route, and I want you to pass that on to the Israeli military just so, you know, they don't mistake us for an Iranian drone or something. I mean, not to be paranoid, but again, this is probably the most violent country in the world, Israel. Is there a country in the world where a higher percentage of the population has held a gun or shot someone? I mean, I don't know the answer, but this is a country famously waging a 7-front war with all of its neighbors, you know, so this is also the country that bombed the USS Liberty, knowing, we know this from NSA intercepts, that it was an American ship. So don't, you know, just send the military our flight information and, you know, we can all just sort of know it's on the record and we can all calm down a little bit. No, they said. The U.S. Embassy said, no, this is, your flight is not a matter of concern to the Israeli military. I said, okay, now you're making me uncomfortable. Isn't the airspace of Israel the purview of the Israeli military? Aren't they in charge of maintaining the integrity of their airspace? When you fly over the country of Israel or any country, its military keeps track of you because that's their job. So why wouldn't you send our flight information to the Israeli military? You're making me nervous. I sent this exchange. I took a screenshot of it and sent it to a bunch of people, including in the U.S. government, because I'm not a paranoid person and I'm not a jumpy person. I said, is this weird behavior? Yeah, it's really weird behavior. All of them said that. So I got pretty aggressive and just said, look, you got to do this. Okay. And they, to their credit, got back to us and said, yes, we will do that. But I just thought that was completely bizarre and menacing, by the way.
Okay. I see that. All right. Now that, okay. I thought this guy was trustworthy. Guns and Gadgets on Twitter, also on YouTube. I thought if he posted this, he must have checked it out. And it's not correct. The Iran targets the Dimona nuclear reactor in Israel. I don't think this is real or verifiable. The first comment says, why does this look really fake? Let's see. This comment says, Jared, that's not Dimona. This is Dimona. And then other people are saying it's, you know, it's fake. Okay. So I just want to put that out there real quick. And thank you for that, man. All right. Let's see. Yeah. Posting fake videos, dude. Not cool. Let's see here. All right. Let's check this out real quick.
Talking about destroying the Dome of the Rock and building the third temple and putting their AI god into it and being the tech and financial capital of the world and ruling over everybody with one world government. It sounds crazy to say if you haven't heard the clips, but that is literally what the Israeli government people are talking about.
And I believe we all recognize the fact that we will reach to the kingdom. We will make it to the return of the Messiah, but this will not happen next Thursday. The lives of nations is always precarious and surrounded with threats.
It's 100% true. They're absolutely trying to bring back the Antichrist, but they're also maybe using AI as the Antichrist.
Yeah, that is more and more what I'm suspecting. If you make the super AI and it's censoring everybody's speech, it's surveilling everybody, like suddenly you have Skynet and it controls you and it works for the Jews. Israel has put themselves in a position now with this war where they are in their end game. And they are pulling out all the stops and everyone's waking up. There's no going back for them. And they've started a war that they can't win and that they're actually overtly losing and trying to cover up how badly they're losing.
I don't know. But I thought this in the same vein. Okay, Bernie Sanders. Listen to this. This is pretty interesting.
Am I being anti-Semitic if I say that the United States taxpayers should not supply more weapons to Israel?
That statement alone is not anti-Semitic. It does not attack Jewish identity.
Rabbi?
I must say.
Israel's former Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has publicly said the September 11th attacks have been good for Israel.
Interesting. Okay, just interesting. All right. And then we have this clip.
If Israel is ever threatened, Israel will hold the whole world hostage by destroying it with nuclear weapons. Israel has an explicit doctrine called the Samson option. Seymour Hersh reported on this. It was eventually published in the long book, The Samson Option. And as people may or may not know, shortly before the war, Israel issued an earthquake warning drill. And then right at Dimona, where their nuclear facilities are, had a 4.5 magnitude earthquake. There's no atmospheric nuclear testing anymore, so all of it happens underground, which means they tested a nuke as a message to the world and as a message to Iran. They're prepared to use nukes. They are, and they're subjective enough and diluted enough to do so. And let's just be clear about the Israeli intents. They refer to the Iranians explicitly now, and even CNN is talking about this now, as Amalek, referencing the biblical story of the slaughter of all 75,000 men, women, and children, and their extermination systematically, Persians actually, which is pretty open exclamation of religious justification for genocide. They're literally saying we have genocidal intent. They're saying that. Bibi said that in his press conference. CNN said, oh, hey, look at this. The start of the war coincides with this Purim and the story of Amalek and so on. Like, what the fuck? I don't want to fearmonger about it. It's a real possibility. It is within the realm. But actually, the total devastation the U.S. is facing should give you some hope. We are seeing the unraveling of the U.S. empire in a meaningful sense. The U.S. empire has totally strategically miscalculated. Their assets are destroyed. Their bases are destroyed. Their radar is destroyed. And the war is just getting started. And Iran is intensifying the pace of operations now. More advanced hypersonic missiles are being used. Their top-line drones are now coming into play. In the U.S. and Israel and the Gulf countries have basically nothing left in terms of air defense. And what they have, they can't even reliably use as well because of all the destruction of their radar.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Tech billionaire David Sachs, who is a Trump advisor, warned in a video interview that if the war continues, that Israel could potentially, he's scared, use a nuclear weapon. Is this something that we should be concerned about?
As far as I'm aware, this is the first utterance of a senior U.S. government official who stated without reservation that Israel has nuclear weapons. We're in an extremely scary situation. Let's review the facts. Israel has 200, 300 nuclear weapons. We don't know. They don't allow international weapons inspectors access to those sites. Israel, a few months ago, tested a nuclear weapon. There was a 4.2 magnitude earthquake that was detected, and the epicenter of that earthquake in Israel was in Dimona, which is where Israel's nuclear reactor is. So that's an interesting coincidence. And then, as you correctly pointed out, Israel has a nuclear doctrine. It's called the Samson option. It's stated military doctrines. It will use nuclear weapons if that as a last resort. There has also been reports that Israeli leaders have threatened to use nuclear weapons in the past as a way to draw in the United States into a military engagement. So that's on the one hand. And then on the other hand, you're dealing with a prime minister and a security cabinet and a parliament and a society, that is Israeli Jewish society, that has proven itself totally indifferent to mass extermination of human life. On top of that, we know that this war is not going very well for Trump, and he's probably looking for an off-ramp. Where's the off-ramp going to come from? How is Trump going to get out of this situation? But suppose he does manages to find an off-ramp. Then it's Israel by itself. Then it's Israel facing off with a power that has an arsenal of thousands of ballistic missiles that can degrade Israel's defense systems, that could attack the Israeli homeland, and they could do major damage to Israel. So when you add that into the picture, I can't think of a time in world history, I mean, save for perhaps the Cuban Missile Crisis and World War II, where we've been closer to the brink of war, to the brink of nuclear war, than we are right now.
Weird. I'm not so sure. Not so sure about that, man. Let's see. I thought this was incredibly interesting. Okay.
Listen up. Eating Rabbi says the Messiah could arrive Thursday, cites 500-year-old book naming the Strait of Hormuz as site of final war. The article goes on to say a respected Israeli rabbi is making a striking claim. The Messiah will be announced this Thursday, the first day of the Hebrew month of Nisan and the beginning of the biblical calendar year. It says the timing is tied directly to one of the most strategically volatile waterways on Earth. It says this Thursday, and there will be an announcement. And he declared in a lecture that has been circulating widely. The radio will broadcast from Jerusalem, and in 5 minutes, we will hear a warning. The Messiah has arrived. And it goes on to talk about how the Jewish calendar designates Nisan as the first month, the month of redemption. And then it talks about the Exodus and how the Messiah is predicted to come on the first day of Nisan, this Thursday. But get this, the sages connect this expectation to the destruction of Amalek, the enemy of Israel. What remains of the war against our enemies, we must finish them, particularly the leaders, by this Thursday. Then he says he joked with President Trump, saying, "You must finish the job by Thursday," which means this week might get interesting with the war.
It might. It might. I don't know. So what is that saying, basically? So the Christians are waiting on an Antichrist. The Jews are waiting for a Messiah. Jewish Messiah or Antichrist to be announced tomorrow. What? Sean says, my back is so tweaked, been over a week in pain, can't stretch it out or anything. Lower back into hips and pelvic area. Send healing vibes, tribe. Anything is appreciated. My brother, we will definitely be praying for you. And I hope some of you guys out there will join us in praying for our brother's back and pelvis. Man, I've been leaning over trees and benches, trying all I can. I assume something is out of place, but I can't get it to crack. Oh, Lord. Well, I'm just going to say a quick prayer. Lord, we thank you so much for hearing us. We thank you so much for all that you have done. I pray for my brother, Sean. I pray for his back, Lord, and I pray that whatever's out of alignment, whatever needs to be tweaked, that you will just reach in and heal and touch and tweak and put his back straight and back as it was and as it should be, Lord, and bless him to have no pain and to recover quickly. We pray for healing in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. We're going to keep her moving here. Bud. All right. Actually, funny that we prayed. Okay. Israel is trying to make preaching the gospel illegal.
Two ultra-Orthodox members of Prime Minister Netanyahu's coalition have introduced a bill that would punish believers for sharing the gospel of Jesus with prison time.
I wouldn't be surprised right now if there was a megachurch pastor somewhere in the United States that is going to try and convince their congregation that this is somehow a good thing. I feel like a large portion of the church in America is more loyal to this new nation state in the Middle East called Israel than they are to Jesus Christ himself. I mean, how often are we going to see pastors ignore what the Talmud literally says as it blasphemes Jesus? Furthermore, how often are we going to continue to take verses like Genesis 12:3 out of context while not reading the entire New Testament and the way Jesus and Paul refer to the Jewish people? It becomes blatantly obvious that Christians are God's chosen people, and that if we are going to pray for Israel at all, it should be for their repentance and not their military victory.
He put a Bible verse on the screen for like a split second. I wanted to see if I could slow it down here and grab that verse.
While not reading the entire New Testament and the way Jesus and
John 8.
Paul.
So if a man who is uncircumcised keeps the precepts of the law, will not his uncircumcision be regarded as circumcision? Then he who is physically circumcised but keeps the law will condemn you who have. Also, in other news, America's greatest ally, Israel, has ordered the Church of the Holy Sepulchre closed amid the Iran war, with the empty tomb barricaded and no plans to open during Holy Week. The holy fire will not be present either. It is the first time in millennia that this event has happened, all right before this lady over here was talking about a possible Messiah tomorrow. Okay. All right. I mean, we're going to be keeping up with all this. So make sure you guys are subscribed, and I hope you're back here tomorrow. Lord willing, we'll be able to have a lot of up-to-date info on these same topics, and we can stay on top of it. All right. How many resets has society gone through? I'm curious.
How many times do you think they've actually reset society? That question sounds crazy until you start seeing the pattern they keep trying to hide. Klaus Schwab was already talking about a great reset right before 2020. Then suddenly the whole world gets shoved into a new normal. And if you zoom out a little, you start noticing something uncomfortable. This isn't the first time a reset has been pushed. Look at history. We lost Egypt's advanced knowledge. We lost the Library of Alexandria. We lost whole civilizations like Tartaria, just wiped from the record like they never existed. Every time humanity gets close to waking up, close to remembering what we once knew, something happens, and the slate gets wiped clean. No memories, no context, no explanation. That's why people call us a species with amnesia. We're here, but we have no idea how we got here or what came before us, because someone keeps hitting the reset button. And here's the strange part. 2020 wasn't just a reset attempt. It was also a wake-up call. If life hadn't been disrupted, a lot of people who were completely asleep would have stayed asleep forever. Humans run on routine. As long as the routine feels safe, we don't question anything. But when they try to force massive change, they risk waking people up, which is exactly what happened. And now they're trying to shove everyone back into a comfortable fog, redefining normal, flipping reality upside down, making you beg for stability, and using that desperation to settle you back into silence. So here's the real question for you. If this pattern keeps repeating, if history keeps getting erased, rewritten, and replaced, how many resets do you think we've actually lived through? And how many more do you think they're planning?
This is just a theory, not a fact.
No, just a theory. I'll be honest, man. I have not done a terrible deep dive on Tartaria. I have not done a great deep looking into that. And other interesting news here. Roz alerts breaking. According to a retired U.S. Air Force launch officer, he claims that UFOs had disabled multiple nuclear missiles after appearing around a Montana base where he was stationed decades ago. Okay, that's weird news. Okay, that's weird. All right, and then we switch into this. All right, I don't know if you heard about the Ohio boom or the meteor, the 6 foot, I forget how many ton meteor that made a terrible noise. Well, now there's footage of what appears to be 4 comets that have been spotted in 4 different continents, including America. It's been released. And I gotta agree, dude, it feels really odd. Okay. Just weird, man. Okay. Weird news. All right. I'm trying to pull something up here. I wasn't for sure that I was going to show this, but I thought I might as well. Okay, just because the clip is so good. All right. Now, this is from John Talks on YouTube. I highly suggest you go subscribe.
It was just like a boom, like that.
That's some crazy news.
Today, something crazy happened, and that was an asteroid flew across the sky and shocked residents with a sonic boom.
It was just like a boom.
Around 8:57 a.m. this morning, thousands upon thousands of people across Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, and even as far as Canada had the same terrifying thought. What the heck was that? Well, you know what it was? It was a meteor.
Oh, what the was that?
Flying through Earth's atmosphere at 45,000 miles per hour. Now, this meteor was 6 feet across and weighed about 7 tons. No need to get your calculators out if you're trying to figure out what 7 tons is. It's 15,432 pounds.
Pretty heavy, huh?
If people want to know what it is in kilometers, I'm not checking that. So this meteor eventually broke apart over Valley City, Ohio, releasing an energy equivalent to 250 tons of TNT. You can see here in this video, the dogs are pretty startled.
Whoa, what the was that?
So the good news is nobody got hurt. Nobody got hit with a meteor. And it turns out some people are finding some remnants of the meteor. Little baby meteorites.
Life finds a way.
I hope you're all having a great day, and I hope none of you get hit with a meteor.
All right, that was a great clip. That was a great clip. All right. So what's coming?
Listen up. Do y'all remember the other day when I was talking about the scientists that have gone missing? The MIT plasma physicist that was murdered. The Caltech astrophysicist that was murdered. And as of February the 27th, we have a retired Air Force Major General that has vanished. And he's associated with UFO programs. This guy right here, he vanished but took his hiking boots, wallet, and his gun. Almost like he knew he was next. All 3 of these scientists study planetary catastrophes. And now we have reports of a boom in Ohio with a 17,000-pound meteor that came crashing down yesterday.
Here in the U.S. tonight, into this incredible sight seen in several states, a 7-ton meteor shooting across the sky. The sonic boom heard over multiple states. The meteor 6 feet in diameter, the ground shaking. Here's Rhiannon Alley tonight.
Tonight, NASA says this bright red fireball streaking through the sky, moving at 40,000 miles per hour and seen from at least 10 states, is a rare daylight meteor crashing into Earth.
Oh, what the was that?
And that's not even the only one. Watch this. It's about a student who discovered a planet-killing comet on a direct collision course with Earth. In the movie, nobody took it serious. Now, do y'all remember the movie Don't Look Up? Now, y'all know I have to bring in prophecy with this, so let's go to Isaiah chapter 34, verse 4. And all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their host shall fall down as the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. Now, the word used for host or stars is Seba, which means a mass of persons organized for war or a campaign. So they're going to fall from heaven and melt or vanish. So let's go to Revelation chapter 6, verse 13. It says, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. This is the same prophecy, just written by different authors. The word for stars in this verse is asteris, asteroids. This very well may be just another sign of prophecy.
Well, when you think about it from a historical standpoint, okay, all right, I could see that. I could see how, it would be from heaven. Let's see. Scotty says, prayers for your back. I need prayers for this model I chose to build, which will take me a year or more to build if I live that long. I quit smoking cigs after 50 years of smoking 2 months ago. Brofist. Holy crap. Congratulations, man. That is a feat. Okay. That is a feat. And any of you guys who are familiar with that little booger called nicotine, you know how hardcore it is, man. It's a bad one. It's like the worst one to quit, honestly. The meteor is here to start campaigning for the 2028 presidential election. Dragon Slayer, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Oh, cool. A panda kit? Is that like I don't know. M1240A1 135. Hardest one I've ever tried, just about to use the first cement on the first step. Well, what is a panda kit? Is that a tank or something? Brian Hughes, what's up, brother? What's up? Have a blessed one, Ryan. Have a blessed one, man. Have a good night, man. Yeah, I'm a lame. I'm a lame. Meteor 2028. All right. This is crazy. Okay. Lockheed Martin has, okay, I'm not going to say it. This is a guy who has info about Lockheed Martin. Apparently it'll blow your mind. Okay. All right. I don't think I listened to the whole thing. I was like, holy crap, we have to show this. Put this on the people's radar.
We have in Lockheed right now, there are craft that can go to Mars in a few hours. Right now in Lockheed.
So how do you know what they have at JPL? How do you know they have...
Not JPL, Lockheed.
Lockheed. How do you know that Lockheed has this technology that we can get to Mars in a couple hours?
Lockheed has, I think, some assets in Nevada, but they have a lot of corporate facilities in California, in the state of California. And supposedly there is this shack on the side of a highway in California that looks like some nondescript warehouse, small warehouse. And you go into this warehouse and the whole floor of the warehouse is an elevator. And it drops Lord knows how many hundreds of feet. And you're inside of a, basically a facility carved out of rock, deep underground.
Yeah.
And what this guy said is that they are not only reverse engineering craft from retrieved debris in this facility, but they're actually training pilots to fly them. And he told me that the main problem that they have in that training program is that the pilots experience extreme disorientation because of the warping of space-time by these craft. In other words, they discovered early on, and this is, I think, one of the main reasons, and we can get into this in much more depth if you want. This is one of the main reasons this technology is being hidden, because they discovered very early on that these are not simply devices with propulsion systems capable of navigating space very quickly. Like they can take you from New York to Australia and, right? They're flying time machines. They warp time as they traverse space.
Right.
And our pilots don't know how to handle that. They have a very hard time. They get disoriented, temporally disoriented. They get their sense of the passage of time gets really messed with. So anyway, he told me he went down into this facility and that they're reverse engineering stuff and that they're trying to train pilots in how to fly these reverse engineered zero-point energy craft. But okay, what's the really important thing about that is that on a theoretical level about how UFOs are actually time machines. And if you really stop and think through that carefully, you realize why under the current socio-political conditions, this technology can't be released. With the kind of society we have, domestically, globally, with the state that humanity is in at the present time, the release of that kind of technology into the public sphere would be utterly catastrophic, right? I mean, you can't give Tom, Dick, and Harry a time machine to put in their garage. You see, that's the thing. It's not like these are Jetsons cars that just, fly you across country really fast. They allow you to traverse different epochs in human history. And I think one of the reasons that our history is so messed up, when you look at these really regressive, tyrannical religious belief systems and the kinds of political structures that formed around them and that were fortified by them, I think a lot of what's going on there is that our timeline has been manipulated. It's been manipulated at all junctures, from the present far into the future.
I don't know about all that. Sounds really cool, because I'm a huge fan of the DeLorean. I've got we're talking about models here. I've got Hot Wheel DeLoreans, specifically the time machine, right? I'm a huge fan, okay? I've got a bunch of little DeLoreans. I love the time machine. It's very cool. I caught that though, Bobby, what you were saying, how he started to talk about regressive religions and stuff like that. Mrs. Unspecified asks a very fun, interesting question. Okay, random question. If you could go back in time, would you buy Bitcoin, then sell it before we found out what we found out about? No, but if you could go back in time, what tickles your fancy? Where are you going? What you doing? Okay. If you could go back in time, if you had a DeLorean, okay, space time machine, okay, 88 miles to 88 miles an hour, out of time. Where are you going? What you doing? Back to the Future does rule. That's like, that's not even subjective. You know what I mean? It's not. It's objectively a fact. Okay. Okay. I think I'm gonna have to watch that tonight. Which one's your favorite? I'm kind of partial to the first and the second one. I like the third one, but when I want to watch a spaghetti western, I watch a spaghetti western. I still like the third one. Anyway, let's switch gears. Yeah, I'm with you, Bobby. I'm with you. Do you really think things are bad now? Just wait. What's this guy got to say? Oh gosh.
So do you feel it yet, or are you still pretending that everything is normal? Do you know that if the national average hits $5 a gallon, it'll be the highest fuel prices in USA's history?
Lucky, Sean? Lucky?
In our history. Diesel fuel just hit almost $5 a gallon, and most people don't even realize it. That's not just fuel, that's trucks, that's farms, that's construction, that's everything that moves in this country. When diesel goes up, food goes up, groceries go up, building supplies go up, building costs go up, and your entire life gets more expensive. What you're paying right now is still based on cheaper fuel from weeks ago, which means the real prices, that wave hasn't even hit yet. If your grocery bill is already feeling high, just understand it's about to climb a lot higher. I'm not saying panic, but I am saying prepare. Stop wasting money. Cut the waste. Be smart. Pay attention, because the people who see it coming early are the ones who don't get crushed when it hits. So when you have that urge to go spend $300 a month on Starbucks, don't do it. Stop wasting money. Stop being stupid. I'm not doing that to be mean. I'm doing that to protect you, because trust me, we're all going to need it. I want to get a new vehicle. I'd love to get a truck, but I can't wrap my head around having to commute an hour each way to work, driving an F-150, even though I want one. When I go from 28 miles a gallon down to 18 to 20, the math ain't mathing. I'm paying $3.70 a gallon for gas now, and if it goes up to $5 or $6 a gallon, we're all going to be really hurt. We're hurting now. How in the hell are you going to be able to pay double what you're paying now for gas and double at the grocery store? Be prepared. Be smart. If you vape, stop vaping. If you buy coffee at the gas station, stop doing it. If you like to get a donut every morning, a sweet treat, enough. Save your money. Don't be dumb. Not doing it to be mean. I'm doing it to protect you. Save yourself now. If you have a couple extra dollars, put it in the piggy bank, because trust me, you're going to need it.
Okay. Sounds pretty solid. Motorcycles for the win. I know that's right when it comes to gas mileage. But they don't help you in the elements, okay? All the rain feels like bee stings, man. Especially when you're going 80, 90, Yeah. Very on point advice. Regardless of which way it goes, it would put you ahead. And I felt the same about that, with getting a new vehicle. We've just been keeping my little Chevy Silverado has 425,000 miles on it. Okay. It's on engine number 2, transmission number 2. And if you were, look, we're not going to get into that talk right now. Okay. But you guys understand paying, $1,000 a month note plus insurance, and plus fuel, for a new vehicle. It's just, we've talked about it before. All right. I know, dude. Dragon Slayer, he already pays double what most people pay for fuel, and many groceries. I wonder if it's going to get so bad that they're going to come along with a solution, a savior tactic, digital ID with preloaded accounts. That's a good one. Do like me and stay home. Oh, wait, I'm retired with COPD. Don't listen to me. Scotty. Some O2 SS says, I need a truck, but my Jeep for the money makes it not worth it. I know, man. It's $489 where Douglas is. Gosh, is that for E87? Golly, dude, it's just climbing. And this clip here, we'll just go ahead and put it on. I have Twitter pulled up over here. I don't know what this means to anybody except for the mailman. I don't know. Robert Garcia, after briefing on Epstein investigation with Attorney General Pam Bondi.
I just want to make some comments. We just walked out of what has been, quite frankly, complete disrespect of the process of one of our members. And quite frankly, the American public should be outraged at what is happening right now. I want to just start by saying that we opened up what was supposed to be a briefing by asking the Attorney General, which I did multiple times, if she would commit to follow the subpoena that is in place that compels her to answer questions that's under oath, transcribed, and then made available to the American people. And she refused on multiple occasions to commit to following the subpoena that Chairman Comer actually just put out. I asked her repeatedly that question. Other members asked her that question, and she would not commit to it. It is outrageous. It's infuriating, and it continues this White House cover-up of the Epstein files. It's also clear to us that this is being staged as some kind of fake hearing. We're in the hearing room. We've all been given 3 minutes of time by the chairman to ask questions. There's no briefing. There was no actual opening statements by the Attorney General or the Deputy AG. There was no, of course, she's not under oath, and she would not commit to actually going under oath and following the law. And so we have been frustrated the second this thing started. We did not get to ask any questions. This has been completely set up in a way that's been irresponsible. And quite frankly, we believe a way for the Attorney General to get out of her answering questions under oath and to the public, which we will not accept. And one of our members also was, quite frankly, attacked and insulted by the chairman, which is also not acceptable. And so we're not going to take that anymore. We look forward to asking all of our questions of the Attorney General when she comes in a deposition, under oath, transcribed, and then made available to the American people.
Uh-oh. Okay. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I agree with him. Yeah, I pulled that statement up here. I went ahead and found it. President Trump threatened to unleash unprecedented military force against Iran's South Pars gas field, warning of a level of power Iran has never seen before. I mean, what is that hinting towards? What are you saying? Okay. Israel, out of anger for what has taken place in the Middle East, has violently lashed out at a major facility known as South Pars gas field in Iran. A relatively small section of the whole has been hit. The United States knew nothing about this particular attack with all of our military. Okay. All right. So we don't have any intelligence when we don't want to have intelligence. That's fine. The United States knew nothing about this particular attack, and the country of Qatar was in no way, shape, or form involved with it, nor did it have any idea that it was going to happen. Unfortunately, Iran did not know this or any of the pertinent facts pertaining to the South Pars attack, and unjustifiably and unfairly attacked a portion of Qatar's LNG gas facility. No more attacks will be made by Israel pertaining to this extremely important and valuable South Pars field unless Iran unwisely decides to attack a very innocent, in this case, Qatar, in which instance the United States of America, with or without the help of or consent of Israel, will massively blow up the entirety of the South Pars gas field at an amount of strength and power that Iran has never seen or witnessed before. See, that is stretching the words right there is, I mean, it's like, basically that's like the most diplomatic way to say we're going to nuke it. I mean, am I wrong? Okay. I do not want to authorize this level of violence and destruction because of the long-term implications that it will have on the future of Iran. But if Qatar's LNG is again attacked, I will not hesitate to do so. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Now my mind is wargaming this idea that Trump and the United States can't really control Israel, right? Or they'll get you. I mean, it's what I'm picking up. So he's like talking past the issue. And he's like, well, this is what we'll do. Okay. I don't know, man. I don't know. Okay. I'll control both of you. I'll threaten you know what I mean? I don't know. It definitely ain't looking good, man. Let's see. All right. We'll switch gears from that for now. Hollywood's hidden agenda is satanic.
Hollywood is collapsing. As you know, ever since I've left, Hollywood has gone all wrong. Probably because of old Russ. We all saw me and Arthur. I will do no such thing. I'm going to remain here in a box with Evander.
Then I shall have my music lesson with Kanye West as planned.
Brilliant acting. Especially Nick Nolte was grabbing me by the nut bag and hurting me real bad. You'll notice I just let that slide. Let's face it, Hollywood is the agency of Satan. Its function, whether they know it or not, they probably don't know this, is to amplify ideas that cause division, suffering, commodification, objectification, these kind of things. That's what it's for. And it just blows my mind. Me and Jake spoke about this at length. Like, it was a film about Hollywood and about the hopeless, senseless narcissism and emptiness and shallowness of Hollywood is made by Hollywood. Like, so all those people, it's really confusing. Hollywood's not there to create jobs and opportunities. It's there as a propaganda unit. Look at the relationships they have with the CIA. Look at the relationships they have with the military. CIA place operatives within all major. I mean, it's just the cast iron, deep, stone cold fact that Hollywood has CIA operatives within it, and the messaging, as you know, Babylonian.
Very nicely put. I thought this was weird. Let me know what you think. Bill Gates, Nestle, BlackRock have quietly teamed up.
Bill Gates is very interested in your water while everyone's distracted with indictments and celebrity BS. Bill Gates, BlackRock, and Nestle just quietly teamed up. Yes, Nestle. Same company whose chairman literally said water isn't a human right. And now they're making moves to own it. This isn't speculation. It's already happening. Gates is buying up farmland that sits on major aquifers. BlackRock is pouring billions into water infrastructure. And Nestle? Still extracting millions of gallons while local communities run dry. They're not just buying land, they're buying access to rivers, lakes, groundwater. They're investing in the tech to monitor, track, and reroute where water flows and who gets it. This isn't about conservation. This is about control. Food already controls people, but water controls everything. You can live without oil. You can survive without power, but water? You've got days. They already run agriculture, finance, and energy. Now they want to own survival itself.
Okay. Survival itself. Could you even imagine, dude?
Bill Gates is...
I mean, I have seen a dude in Oregon go to jail for collecting his own rainwater. So, I mean, it gets pretty weird. All right. Are you ready for this one? Okay. Guest blows Joe Rogan away with the conspiracy theory.
Okay, here's another conspiracy theory. You've seen all the grainy footage of nuclear test blasts that you've seen, the mushroom clouds. And there are always these grainy things, and there's all these like little houses lined up, and little trees lined up, and it blows everything down. Yeah. Okay, so here's the question, right? So what happened? Okay, so this is great. Okay, you'll love this. So what happened to the camera?
You son.
How is that happening? Yet the camera is like totally stable and fine.
Oh my god!
And by the way, the film is fine. The radiation didn't cause any damage to the film.
Oh my god!
And by the way, okay, we'll do this one. We'll do the loop one more time here. Where's the car?
Oh,
okay.
It just showed up.
So wait a minute. First of all,
wasn't there.
First of all, where'd the car come from?
No car.
Second, does it really look like
Car.
Does that look like a real car?
That's insane.
Is that a house or is that like, is that a 12-inch scale model?
What?
Right.
That does look fake. You know what it looks like? It looks like the smoke is too big. Watch when it hits. Like the volume, like the size of it, it looks small. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it looks like we're looking at something that's like a few inches tall.
If you watch like Making of Star Wars, any of the any movies before CGI, whenever they do anything like that, it's always with these tiny models.
Yes. Yeah, this looks fake as shit.
Let's get another one. It's like, okay, but the camera's fine.
That's hilarious.
Oh, it is a good.
I don't know. Okay. This is breaking. This is like literally 26 minutes off the press. U.S. officials say they have detected unidentified drones flying over Washington Army Base, where Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth reside. Authorities have not yet determined the drone's origin. Okay. Let me see here. We have some more fresh off the press. This is not fresh off the press. This is from 11 hours ago. We have Iran says U.S. Israeli energy and gas infrastructure will burn to ashes.
انرژی و گاز مبدأ تهاجم در
Okay. Let's see. We'll keep moving here. This just says the education system is hijacked.
If parents and teachers actually knew who owns all the textbooks that we studied in school, there would be an uprising tomorrow. Kids would be getting pulled from school. The education system would collapse in less than a day. This is no joke at all, and you need to watch this until the end. All these dry textbooks that we used to draw mustaches on the people in them were owned by McGraw-Hill. But what a lot of people don't know is McGraw-Hill is actually a subsidiary to Pergamon Press. And Pergamon Press is owned by none other than Robert Maxwell, who is the father of Ghislaine Maxwell. That's definitely not a red flag. And who also happened to be a spy. Again, nothing to see here. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Now, the name Pergamon Press just doesn't sit right with me. There's something about this name. Oh, I remember now, because when I studied the Bible, I recognized that name. The throne of Satan mentioned in Revelations 2:12 to 13 is traditionally identified with the massive great altar of Pergamon, the altar of Zeus. The altar of Zeus was seen as Christians as a place of spiritual opposition. This is where Satan's throne is and what they were doing, sacrificing, all these things. So the father of Ghislaine Maxwell, Robert Maxwell, owns all of our textbooks that we studied throughout our entire lives and named his company after Satan's throne. I mean, what a shocking coincidence and revelation that is, guys. He probably didn't know. For the people that are already awake in this reality, we know that school is the biggest scam there is. An indoctrination camp that very closely mimics a prison system. Teach you enough that you need to know to work the machines until you die. Never teaching you anything that really translates into real life. We all know that most of us actually learn from life experience, not from studying some nonsense and memorizing and writing it down. People don't learn like that, and they don't want you to know the real truth of this reality. This is absolute proof of this. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. And don't forget to like, share, and follow for more hidden truth. Peace and love.
Okay. I'm over here on my X, Twitter, whatever. And it's they're diverting everyone right now. No inbound aircraft. I don't know much more. There's a ton going on here, man. Netanyahu reveals the goal is to create greater Israel and return of the Jewish Messiah, which is the Antichrist and the beginning of Armageddon.
Many ways and in ways that would be revealed.
Okay. Europe launches EU Inc. the 28th regime, a fully digital framework that enables entrepreneurs to create and register a business anywhere in the EU with their data then shared with relevant administrations and supported via the new EU business wallet. Okay. So there's a ton going on over here, man. This one here, what is that? Billion? Or yeah, 820 billion was erased from the stock market and 120 billion was erased from crypto market cap today. I mean, explain that. I get it, all the stuff in war and everything going on with that. Real quick before we move on, Saudi Arabia says it reserves the right to take military action against Iran. So it looks like Mrs. Unspecified wants to know if these hats reminds anyone else of a picnic. The lone silencer, my brother. What's up? All right. We're going to keep her moving here. The truth about organ donation.
Brain death is a lie. So people don't even realize it's a lie anymore. But it's been a lie from the beginning, continues to be a lie. They invented brain death mainly to get organs, but then also so they don't waste money on treating people who aren't ever going to get a job, who are just going to live and not die. And so to see what brain death is, it's primarily a way to get organs. You cannot get any organs from a cadaver. Every organ that's transplanted is a healthy organ, and you can only get healthy organs from living persons. You cannot get any organs for transplant from a cadaver. The things I'm telling you is that you are not allowed to hear, because if you hear it, you will be upset, as all three of you are upset. And rightly so, you should be upset. Whose organs do they want? Certainly from all children, but especially the people who are 16 to 30, and their life is in jeopardy. If they're unconscious and on a ventilator, they're going to get their organs. Everybody who's called brain dead has a beating heart, circulation, and respiration. If they didn't have that, you wouldn't have to call them brain dead. You could call them dead. That is terribly creepy. That's kind of horrifying if you think about it, because the people that are supposed to heal you and help you, they might be looking at you a little different. I don't know. That's just weird. Kind of like a monster in a movie in a cave or something. Okay. Okay. All right. We'll move on here. People are already buying their ticket for the Mark of the Beast.
But we are right now in real time watching people walk right into the Antichrist deception. They are already believing it. The same deception, the final rebellion that the Bible warns about, the same one that ushers in the mark of the beast. People are already believing it right now, and the AC isn't even here yet.
What if the people in the Epstein files aren't Satanists? What if they're Christians? And I guess more accurately, what I'm saying is that all roots of this darkness has stemmed from the Abrahamic system. And this is the system that birthed patriarchy, took us away from our natural state of being and connection. And it is why this system of violence has been able to exist and thrive and continue to work.
You guys still aren't getting it. Christian men use the blood of Jesus and innocent people like babies to cover their sins. That's the whole religion.
The type of men who wrote the Bible are the exact same type of men that are in the Epstein files right now. Do you need a minute to process that? If you can't see the parallel of the Bible and what is going on in our world right now, are you good? The Bible is not, never has been, never will be the literal word of God. The Bible is a collection of misguided information from corrupt men who wanted power and control. Sacrificing of children, underage, you know what, eating and drinking of bodies and blood. Sacrifice, sacrifice, sacrifice. Fear, fear, fear. Control, control, control. Remind you of anything that's going on right now? I'm a preacher's kid. The best day of my life is when I realized Christianity was a crock of crap. When I left all of those lies behind, my entire life presented itself. Fear left, panic left, all these things left. So if you can't see that the Bible is just a misguided form that has been pushed upon feeble minds at such an early age.
Nothing is as it seems. Nothing. So now we've got the UAP files, so let's talk about it. What the truth of everything really is. The only truth that really matters is the truth that resonates with your spirit. But can you hear that truth? The biggest question of all. This world has trained us to silence that truth that lies within us. The Christians are out here screaming, oh, the aliens are demons. Well, in Amos 5:8, it talks about the Pleiades and the Orions. They don't come from other planets. I don't believe that for a second. They're right here, our protectors.
Making the demons that arrive our saviors. They will be welcomed because they will take down the evil system. So, I mean, it sounds absolutely crazy, right? What, dude? We were just going over this on Rumble. Be sure to follow us on Rumble. That's where we're having the Bible study. We're going over Revelations. If you want to know more about this, dude, holy crap. When it says that there will be a strong delusion, holy crap. I was not expecting this. Okay. I didn't realize, dude. So people who don't look into anything, they basically just equate what they're hearing people say, and they're not actually thinking. They're not actually looking into it. And they're just like, well, the Christians keep talking about Jesus and being innocent and sacrifice. And then there's these people on this island. They're like, well, that must be. It's just crazy, man. That's crazy. Crazy. Okay.
Guides. They exist on a higher plane than we do. Pleiadians, Orions, Syrians.
People need to read their Bibles, man. Holy crap. All right. All right, let's look at this real quick. All right.
I have a question for Christians. Of all the thousands of gods in the world, which one is the real God? The one you hate? I'm sorry, what? The one with actual power and influence in the world. The one whose word testifies against the world that it's evil. The one you simultaneously shake your fist at as you deny his existence. You know which God is the one true God. It's the one you desperately hate. Okay, so why would I hate God? Because you're evil.
Okay, that was kind of cool. Okay, you got to admit. All right. Now I got some testimonies here. I really dig testimonies. There's power in your testimony. That's just your story, or more specifically, your life and how God interacted with it is your testimony. There's power in that.
I post everything. I really love to do. My biggest thing is my cosplay.
Like that grabs the edge for some fellas.
Absolutely. It's just the act of up. You'll know when the Holy Spirit is convicting you.
So that girl used to be an OnlyFans girl. Okay. And then she found Jesus. Okay.
The Holy Spirit is convicting you. The Holy Spirit's pointing something out to you and poking it. And that's what's uncomfortable about it. So I'm like, God, what is it that you need me to do? And I will do it. I know you will provide because in the Bible, it says that God used the most unqualified people to call out people who thought they knew everything. Just stay on it a little bit longer. Make your bag. You don't even need to do anything bad, but it is wrong. It is sin. How could God ever bless me when I'm opening this door to darkness? God wants that door shut. What am I scared of? Not having $1 million? Oh, who cares? Like, dude, I'm promised a mansion in heaven. That's free.
Come on.
I post.
That's a good one. Okay. All right. This one goes to talk about fasting. Goes a little bit deeper here.
Y'all gotta fast because Jesus does not say if you fast, he says when you fast. So there's this assumption that we are supposed to be fasting. Spiritually, we got to be fasting. But I was doing a fast with my husband. The one thing that God really revealed to me was, I really need you to choose me, not someone else choose me for you. And that meant a lot of times I'll wait until Carlos is like, I have the kids. Why don't you go like pray, or why don't you go do it? Instead of me saying, I love you so much, I need you to take the kids. It's my time. I'm usually just kind of waiting because I'm like, I know he's got a lot going on or whatever. And he's like, no, you've been doing great and you've grown a lot already, Alexa. That's great. But now is the next step. I need you to choose me on like a deeper level because my 5 minutes here, 5 minutes here, whatever, that's great. But now I'm at another level with the Lord where he's entered me into this season where I'm going to require a lot more of him.
I think we can all see that right now. I think in some way, maybe in your own way, but definitely looking around just on a broad scale, right? Stop sanitizing your prayers.
Cry in the secret place. Tell him you're mad at your husband in the secret place. Tell him you're wrestling with divorce in your heart in the secret place. Tell him you're angry. Tell him you're lustful. Tell him you're jealous. Tell him you're envious. Tell him you don't feel like doing Christianity. If you've ever felt sorrow, depression, grief, he understands that. If you've ever felt you've been pushed to the point of wanting to die, he understands that. There is nothing any of us have ever felt in our hearts, hear me, man, that the Lord cannot understand. So Matthew writes to us in Matthew chapter 21, verse 18, and in the morning, as he was returning to the city, that is Jerusalem, from Bethany, he became hungry. 95% of the time when we're talking about the Lord Jesus, we're talking about his deity. We're talking about his miracles. We're talking about the fact that he was God in the flesh. But I just want to draw your attention to the fact that Matthew writes that as the Lord was walking, he was hungry. It just gives the reader a reminder of the humanity of Christ. That not only was he God, but he was also fully man at the same time. This theological term we call the hypostatic union, the merger of deity to humanity, Christ, God in a body. And although we pray to him and we worship him and we know that he was God, I just got to remind somebody today that he was also a man. And because he was a man, he is intimately acquainted with all of your emotions and your feelings. If you felt weary, he understands that. If you felt tired, he understands that. If you felt frustrated, he understands that. If you've had issues in marriage, he understands that because his bride is not faithful to him all the time either. If you've had issues with friends, he understands that. If you've ever been betrayed, he understands that. Stop sanitizing your prayers. But that when you go into his presence, man, be honest in the secret place. Tell him you're mad at the Father. Tell him you feel like you're not listening to my prayers. The Lord can handle all of your humanity. A brother got issues, and a brother still has brokenness. And I don't want to go into my secret place and have to mask what I'm feeling in my heart. When you're hurting, who got time for that? I'm the only person that ever felt pain and wanted, watch this, a release. And it's hard to get a release when you approach God like he does not already know what you're dealing with. This is why the unknown writer of Hebrews tells us that we can approach the throne of grace boldly because we serve a high priest, watch, who is intimately acquainted, the Philip Anthony Mitchell translation, with every single emotion struggle in your heart. He was a human being just yet without sin. There is nothing you will ever feel that brings tears to your eyes or sorrow to your heart that Christ cannot understand.
Tammy says, have I heard of Kim Clement? Absolutely, I've heard of Kim Clement. Absolutely. Absolutely, I've heard of him. Absolutely. And he certainly said a lot, you know, and he was right about a lot. What was that guy? God in a Nutshell? You guys might look him up and look into his videos if you're into kind of a kookier, you know, not crazy, but you know, he goes into Nephilim and giants and history and all this other stuff. God in a Nutshell. I forgot that guy's name. Holy moly. Bro Fist Dragon Slayer, thank you so much for that $10 super chat. My man. Dragon Slayer says, part 1. So I was a Christian as a kid, rebelled hard against, wanted to believe I was a pagan, even claimed to be one. Daughter was born, code blue, never talked about God with her. Wow. Wow. There's going to be a part 2? I don't know. Thank you so much for that, brother. Thank you for the support. $10 super chat. My man, my man. All right. I think this is important to go over.
I want to talk to you about what is going to happen to you the minute that you die. Many of you, you don't know the questions that are going to be on the test when you have to give an account to God. And so you think you're preparing for that moment, but you're preparing in the wrong way. And because of it, you're going to fail. I'm going to tell you exactly what the Bible says, the tests you're going to face when you get there. What judgments you're going to face, and there's 2 of them. In the Bible, there's actually not one judgment. There's 2 judgments that you're going to face. The first one is called the Great White Throne Judgment. And the best way to think about this is the everybody judgment. When you get there and you're facing judgment, what you're going to see is on one side, you're going to see books. And I think there's going to be more books than you can possibly count. Why are there books in a book? What's in the books is everything that you've ever done, good or bad, is being recorded in those books right now. And then on the other side, over here in the book, there's no sins, there's only names. And that book is called the Lamb's Book of Life. Which thing you're judged based on, what's in the books or whether your name is in the book, depends on something very important. I'm going to talk about that. You want to be judged by what's in the book. You don't want to be judged based on what you did. You want to be judged based on what Jesus did, I promise. So here's the question that God's going to ask you here's question number 1, you're going to face at Judgment Day. What'd you do with Jesus? In other words, he's going to go, were you planning on paying for your own sins, or are you going to let Jesus pay for your sins at the cross? And the right answer to that question is something like this. I gave my life to him. I had a relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ that changed me. That's the right answer to that question. That's not the only question you're going to be asked. The second judgment you're going to face is what they call the Bema Seat judgment. Now, and this second judgment, the Bema Seat judgment, it's not about whether or not you're going to get into heaven. This is really important. It's about what heaven's going to be like for you. God's saying, if you're a Christian, you're going to stand before this Bema Seat, this second one, and then watch what's going to happen. You're going to stand before the judgment seat of Christ. Why? So that each of us may receive what is due us for the things while done in the body, whether good or bad. God's going to ask you the question, what did you do with what I gave you? My job is not to help you be successful at life. My job is not even my primary job is not even to fix your family. I want to do all those things. My primary job is to prepare you for eternity.
That's good, man. Dragon Slayer, my man. Bro Fist, we got a $10 super chat up in here. Part 2. Okay. Wouldn't let anyone else talk God to her either. Still, she drew pictures with God, Jesus, and angels. Even wrote Jesus on them. Took her doing that and asking to go to church to pull me back. Amen, man. Amen, dude. What a blessing, dude. That almost brought a tear to my eye, bro. Dude, God is so good, man. God is so good. Thank you, Lord, man. What a blessing. Isn't that awesome? Thank you for that super chat, brother. And your testimony, man. That is power. That is powerful, dude. Okay. little our little unspecified family member over here yapping in the background. Let's see here. Our fur baby. Sorry, it's our newest fur baby. Okay, faith in Jesus.
I choose to follow Jesus because he's not a cage of rules. He's a real person. He's a real person who loves you and sees you. And I realized that when I hated my life so much, he decided to intervene that night I was going to take my life. And when I reflect on my life and I look at my past and I think I'm not worthy, I think everyone here can think that they're not worthy. We look at ourselves, we're our biggest enemy. We feel shame, guilt, and we condemn ourselves. And I realize that the voice in my head, Satan, he knew my name my whole life, but he called me by my sin. But Jesus, he knew my sin, but called me by my name. And I knew that night when I was in Waffle House, the dirtiest, most broken version of myself, Jesus looked at me, a real person, and said, that's the version I died for. I choose to follow.
Dude, Dragon Slayer, Brofist Brother, part 3. I am absolutely convinced that she met Jesus while she was Code Blue and was used by him. Figured I'd share my testimony and some blessings. Dude, my man. What a blessing that is, dude. What a blessing. Thank you so much for sharing that. Dude, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you so much for sharing your testimony, brother. That is beautiful. What a blessing. What does Code Blue mean? Am I supposed to know that? Is that... So I assume it's medical? A Code Blue? Oh, wow. Well, maybe you can... That's amazing, dude. All right, let's check this one out here.
You something. So the next time I go to share the gospel, I walk into Walmart, I come out, and there's...
Code Blue is a hospital emergency term that means a patient is in cardiac arrest, their heart has stopped, or they're not breathing. When a Code Blue is called, a specialized medical team rushes in immediately to start life-saving actions like CPR, defibrillation, airway support. It's basically one of the most urgent emergencies in the hospital. Hospitals use color codes like this so staff can respond fast without alarming everyone. Code Blue, almost always life-threatening situation right now. Whoa. Code Blue, no heartbeat. Wow. Wow. Wow, dude. Wow.
This man, and I make a judgment instantly. I go, is he trying to steal that bike? Because he was like on meth. He had a bunch of satanic sleeve tattoos, and he was definitely on meth, and he was definitely homeless. And I thought he was trying to steal this bike. Come to find out, it was his bike. So right after I do that, the Lord's like, okay, let me show you something. Go up to him. So like I buy him lunch and I sit and eat with him. And then the Lord's like, remember how you judged him? Now let me show you how I feel about this man. Right then and there, while this man's talking. I was honored to be in this man's presence. I had to like hide my tears from him, just feeling the love that the Lord has for this man. And then I hear the Lord go, you're going to lead him to Jesus right now. And the Holy Spirit fills me. It is Jesus in me. It is Jesus in you. The same Spirit that rose Jesus from the dead is the Spirit that is in you. And it filled me. And I turned and looked at him and I called him by name and I looked him dead in the eyes, called him by name as if the Lord was talking to his son. And I said, I'm going to talk to you in a way no one's ever talked to you before. I told him how much God loved him because I knew how much God loved me. I told him how important he was because I knew how important I was. I told him he was destined for eternity with a God who loves him and that he's powerful and wonderful and he was made wonderfully in the image of God. And I told him I'm not leaving his side until I hear that he accepts Jesus as his Lord right now. And that man, there was people all around us. This guy had satanic pentagrams on him. He's been warring against God his whole life. And the Holy Spirit filled him so hard, he cried out loud with tears, weeping, Jesus, save me. Save me today. Change my life. Every day since then, I have shared the gospel. And every day since then, I have a story just like that one. You see, I had words of knowledge. I had prophecy. I had this, that, and the other. But man, I just walk in love and it wrecks the enemy. They can't stand in it. It's love now. It's love. I'm not worried about anything else. I love you. I respect you. I want you to know it. I want you to know that Jesus loves you so ferociously, so viciously, so wonderfully. That is what wrecks their hearts. They go to share the gospel.
Hey, Scotty, I appreciate you, brother. And the love is received, my friend. Thank you so much, even just for being here, my man. Just for being here. Okay. Thank you. And thank you again, Dragon Slayer. That was I don't even have words, man. Beautiful, amazing, powerful. Thank you. Thank you, dude. Hold on now. We're not done.
If you had to condense all the teachings, all the lessons you've learned, all the videos you've made, all the preachers you've done into one message, what would you say?
I would say Jesus Christ was fully God and fully human. He lived this perfect sinless life, was able to avoid sin, falling into temptation, living a perfect life that no one could do but God alone. Died on this cross, defeated sin and death. And if someone's curious about Jesus, I would just say, do what Jesus said is the greatest commandment, the greatest thing that we can grab a hold of. Instead of looking at the biggest mountains and how am I going to climb the mountain? Love the Lord your God with your whole heart, soul, mind, and strength. I'm talking about the God of Christianity. Love the Lord your God with your whole heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself.
If you had to condense...
Condensing it down. And then this is the last message I wanted to leave you. So don't go anywhere, okay? But before, I wanted to leave y'all with this message real quick, okay? With all the other news and everything impending and, all the, we're talking about escalating again. We're talking, talking about troops, all this,
If Jesus Christ was actually raised from the dead, if he really got up, walked out, was seen by hundreds of people, talked to them. If he was raised from the dead, then you know what? Everything's going to be all right. Whatever you're worried about right now, whatever you're afraid of, everything is actually going to be okay. Because you got to remember, we're not just talking about resurrected people. Jesus Christ is, and this is where Christianity is unique, we're talking about a resurrected world, meaning there's plenty of other religions that talk about a future afterlife, which is a non-material world. In other words, you get a consolation for the world we've lost. Christianity says it's not just your bodies are being resurrected, but the world is actually going to be a material world that's cleansed from all evil and suffering and sin. And if Jesus Christ was raised from the dead, then the whole world is going to be, in a sense, resurrected, and everything is going to be okay. Everything. You don't know how. I don't know how, but it will be. So, and you know what? Actually, right now, I couldn't possibly be convinced that Jesus was not raised from the dead, either intellectually or existentially. So and by the way, but Kathy and I, listen, we cry. We cried a lot last night. Sometimes the reality of the shortness of what we have left here just overwhelms us, and we were just weeping together and crying. And then you say, if Jesus Christ was raised from the dead, it is going to be okay. And then you can wipe your tears, but you don't stop crying. It's like salt in the wound that keeps the wound from going bad.
Amen, dude. Okay, guys. Okay. We had a night. We hung out. We're still hanging out. Okay. 2 big things real quick. If you want to help support us, go over to our Rumble. Okay. Unspecified Podcast on Rumble. Hopefully Anti's here. He'll get the link real quick. We just did Revelation chapter 3. Okay. It was a really good one. We're going over every verse, no stone unturned with Pastor Steven Anderson. A very controversial guy, controversial preaching. And a little announcement that Rumble is likely where we will have to continue our Revelation series, going over Pastor Steven Anderson's sermons on Revelation, which I think everyone should see at least once. I think now is the time to get brushed up on that. Jesus said that his people were destroyed due to lack of knowledge. I want to thank you, Dragon Slayer, and everybody else for being here. Thank you, Dragon Slayer, for the super chats and the awesome, powerful testimony. The second big thing we need your help with, algorithmically hated. We talk about things, politically homeless. It's not a popular place to be where we live. Okay. It's not popular. Okay. People don't know whether to, think heads or tails, and they don't really stick around for very long. We show stuff controversial, that definitely the mainstream and the overlords here at YouTube don't want us talking about. And I know that because they just deleted our Bible study on Revelation, chapter 1. If that's not some form of religious discrimination or persecution. I don't know, grab this URL, click the share button, share us out to a friend, maybe drop us in a group chat, maybe, and why don't we popularize conspiracy theory or awoken like-minded group chats? Why aren't we reaching out to our friends of like mind and starting a group chat? Okay. Mrs. Unspecified wants to do a birthday party where we have a conspiracy theory birthday party and we talk about our favorite conspiracy theories. And I think that we should mandate that everybody brings a poster board and do it like an old school report for school. Okay. That would be awesome. Okay. But why aren't we doing that more with our own friends and family? That's what we need to be doing. Okay. Just like there's power in the testimony, man, do not forsake the assembly. We got to assemble with other believers, man. Tamalama, what's up? What's up, Tamalama? Good to see you. Good to see you. Man. Okay. Other than that, thank you for all your support. Shout out to the channel members. All the links to help support us are down below if you feel led to, if you feel like we've earned it. And don't forget, this is a community watching history unfold together. That's what we're trying to do here. That's what we're trying to build. We're trying to get all the raw data that we can and put it in front of you guys so that you can make your own minds up, heads or tails of what's going on. You can make your own decisions. Lone Silencer, Bro Fist. Get your Bro Fists ready. Bro Fist me out of here in chat on our way out. Again, we love you. Much love, everybody. Smash a like if you haven't already. Subscribe. Okay, we got a lot of stuff. We're going to be scanning the situation, the zeitgeist, keeping our heads poked in. Hopefully tomorrow we'll have some updates on a lot of the topics we talked about tonight. With all that being said, guys, y'all have a great night. Okay, I'm sorry we got started a little bit later on this one. It sucks. It is what it is. I like to get started a little bit earlier, but with everything, okay, believe it or not, YouTube threw me for a serious loop. Dude, Tamalama, what is this here? A $5 super chat? My man. Bro Fist, dude. Thank you for the support. Seriously, keeping us independent, keeping the lights on. Thank you as well, Dragon Slayer, man. You guys are the best. You guys really are the best. We love you. We thank you, man. Y'all have a great night. We'll catch you on the flip side. We'll see you out there, guys, on the next one. Much love, everybody. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. See you later, guys.